over here. Thank you for tapping in. I really one-off thing. When you build organically, that's there forever and is going to compound for you. Now, this is one that I was actually guilty of. The question was sent to me was, why do my posts get likes but I don't get sales? Answered by so-called gurus. And just so you know, this isn't some guru talk or some Instagram version of a live Q&A either. These are real questions from clients or real questions from prospects that I have. I'm leaving their name out just for ethical reasons and things like that. Really hadn't gotten permission from my clients to use their names, but if so, I'll go back over it. I'll leave some of these questions down below in the comment section so you can see them being answered via messaging and stuff like that. But the question was, what's the fastest way to make $5,000 online? I tell you this, if you haven't made your first $100, don't worry about trying to make your first $5,000. But yet and still, if you are trying to make your first $5,000 fairly quickly, I would honestly say, and this has been answered online, you see this everywhere, you would 9 times out of 10 want to stick to one single offer. If you are offering SAS services, stick to that. Compound on it. Build off of that. If you are doing one roofing jobs or something like that, stick to roofing. You don't want to sit there and come up with a bunch of different offers for your audience, and then your audience gets confused and never buys from you. One clear offer for your audience is going to work a hell of a lot better than you throwing out 15 different offers to your clients or your audience, I should say. Again, I've been guilty of that. That was an issue with my website. In my services and solutions page on my website, I would have my services, which would be my marketing strategies, which would be from nonprofit to events to community events to nonprofit to social media marketing, things like that. Advertising, whether offline or offline, online or offline, excuse me, or print or digital, in other words. And once I took that down and I just stood with the brief section and selling my PDFs in the bundle, things got a little bit more open for the audience to understand what it was that I was offering. So same principle applies here to you guys. This is one I do want to touch on a little bit. And the question was, do I need a website or can I sell off of social media only? Now, yes, you can. You can strictly sell off of social media only. The thing is, when you sell off of social media only, you're not showing ownership. When you're not showing ownership, because that's what the website is. The website is strictly ownership. Make sure I turn this down so I can watch when the comments are coming in. That's what the website is for. The website is showing you strictly ownership. A lot of people sit there and think that, oh, my platform is going to get me there. But you got to remember, these platforms can go down at any moment in time. For instance, let's say Facebook decides to shut down, and that was your main source of income by posting on Facebook. You don't have a website. Now what are you going to do? You know, these platforms are really just rented out land when you think about it. So my best suggestion, always get a website. Push your product, your services on social media, but always have a website. That website shows ownership, that, hey, this is mine. I own this. You cannot take this from me, okay? Now, the next one here. And no, before I go on, remember, your website shows that you are an authority in your niche, in your respective field. That is going to be a given. You can ask any person who's a CEO, CMO, CFO, CTO. You can ask anybody in these fields. Matter of fact, you can go on LinkedIn. I joined some of these micro LinkedIn groups. They're like fucking gold mines in there. Go over there, talk to some guys over there, talk to some women over there, talk to some of these people there and learn, network with them. You'll thank me later for it. Next question. Why does my funnel look good but does not convert? Same thing I was saying before. Your message isn't aligning with the people, and people don't join. The funnels don't convert. Let me say it like that. Funnels do not convert. People convert. So when your message isn't aligned with the people trying to convert over in your funnel's not going to be that pipeline that you need it to be. So remember, again, have clear messaging when it comes to your business, when it comes to your personal brand, when it comes to whatever it is that you're building as an entrepreneur, whether it's a nonprofit, a personal brand, whatever it is. Always have clear messaging. Next question. How often should I post to actually make money? I'm going to be speaking in realistic terms. Whatever you feel comfortable with. Whatever you feel comfortable, however many times you feel comfortable posting, do that. Because you can post as often as you can to maintain quality and clarity, and stay consistent at it while you do it. Because as soon as you lose that consistency, everything's going to just drop off. It's going to fall to the wayside for you. Yet and still, my best suggestion, I live by this, is anywhere between 3 to 5 times a week on any social media platform. The reason I say 3 to 5 times a week on any social media platform is because it gives you time to actually engage with those on social media. Those that see your post on social media, they take it offline, they see you out and about somewhere. That gives you time to actually engage with these people. Not only that, it gives you time to actually work on your business. If you're sitting there posting constantly every single day, 20, 30, 40 times a day, you're posting 10 times in the morning, 15 times in the afternoon, you're posting 20 times at night, you're posting before you go to sleep, you're posting 5 more times. You're not going to have any time to actually work your business. Because I understand if you're doing this, if you're using AI to a certain degree, but even then, the AI aspect is only going to be able to do so much for you. Sometimes you can crash your AI. The bandwidth can get so overloaded from you posting and you bringing in all your leads from your funnels and things like that. The bandwidth can crash AI. Next question. Is branding really necessary, or is it just aesthetics? I couldn't believe somebody asked me this shit. Look, branding is not just aesthetics. Branding is necessary. Branding is literally trust at scale. If people hesitate to buy from you, that means you've already failed. That means people do not trust you. Your brand is not trusted. So let me say this. People will do business with you for these 3 things. That's because they trust you, but before they even trust you, they have to know you. So if a person knows you, probably they'll do business. If they trust you, that just solidified it that they're doing business with you. And if they like you, that means even more. Those are 3 key points in business that let people do business with you, me, Tom Tucker, and any other person up and down the street. They have to know you. They have to like you. They have to trust you. Other than that, your brand isn't going to scale at all. Next question. Why do people inquire then ghost me? Again, it's because people do not understand your messaging. Your messaging is not clear enough. If someone is ghosting you, that means they're confused about what it is that you're offering. Again, make yourself known. Let these people know who you are. Let these people know who you help. Let these people know what you offer, what kind of outcomes they will get from your offers, and who you have helped. Because again, if your messaging isn't unclear, your offer is unclear, or let alone the follow-up, that's what a real money is. The follow-up in itself. If you lack follow-up skills, if you can't keep an appointment, you're going to lose money. You're going to not lose, but you're going to lose money, but you're also going to leave money on the table. If you do this, you're just fucking yourself over, yo. Plain and simple. You're not sitting here, you're not actually doing the work. You're not doing the work at all. So get clear on what it is that you offer. And once you have that lead, once you have that prospect, follow up. That's where the money is. Next question. Oh, this is something people rarely ever ask me. Why do people trust others in my niche more than me? This is a good question, actually. And the main reason why people actually trust people in the same niche as you, as that I'm in, I've had this happen to me actually. It's because they communicate the outcomes, while you, the competition here, you're only communicating the effort that you put in. Okay, great. Kudos to you. You're putting in fucking effort. Clap. Get a pat on the back and a tap on the shoulder, all that other stuff, right? But what's the fucking outcome behind this shit? If you're not giving your client the outcome, then you're just giving them the effort. And that means they're going to say, "Okay, this guy's not he hasn't produced anything." If you haven't produced anything, what makes you think that prospect is going to work with you? Makes sense, right? Next question. Am I undercharging or just not valuable enough yet? Alright, this sounds more like insecurity here. If you believe you're undercharging, I honestly believe that's your insecurity playing on you, and it's not generosity whatsoever. You have to understand that you as a person are valuable in it yourself. You put a price on whatever it is that you want to sell, whether it be a product or a service. I'm not going to get into any specifics, but whether it be a product or a service, you yourself are going to place the value on that. No one else can tell you that. If you believe that that's what that's worth, then that is what that is worth. Your prices are your prices. Plain and simple. So don't sit there and say, "Oh, is my offer not valuable enough, or am I underselling, or am I undercharging yet?" No, you're not undercharging. You're just being an insecure little bitch. What else you want me to tell you? Quit being an insecure little fucking bitch and charge what the fuck you want to charge. Your prices are your prices. Let's say, for instance, you know for a fact that you have a product that's worth $3,000, or you have a service that's worth $3,000. Why would you undercut yourself and charge $200 for a $3,000 product or service? Now, I can see if you are feeling generous, because you can do that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Hookup, for lack of a better term. Yeah, a hookup, for lack of a better term, because you're already making that money. But if you're not making that money on a consistent basis at that, why in the fuck would you undercut yourself and undercharge? Put yourself out there. Put it in yourself that you say, "I'm worth this much." Because as of right now, believe it or not, I'm worth $380 million. Am I making $380 million? Fuck no. But I'm worth $380 million. And the main reason why is because of the network that I have. Your network is your net worth. Remember that. Embed that in your brain. Your network is your net worth. So, this is a good one. And this is pretty much what I was just going over before. How do I sell without feeling fake or pushy? by believing in your solution actually fucking works. The fuck? If you don't believe that your product or your service that you're offering works, what makes you think that your prospect or client believes that the shit that you're selling works? Like, make it make fucking sense here. If we can go even further, why in the fuck would you even put yourself out there to even say that, hey, I believe in this, and now you're skeptical about your own shit? What sense does that make? You know, if you doubt it, the people are going to smell that you doubt your fucking services. They're going to smell that you doubt your own fucking products. They're gonna pick this up. So if you doubt your own shit, then hey, you're just up shit creek without a paddle. So here's a good one. Is my offer bad or is it my messaging? Again, this is pretty much like the same question before I had. If no one's buying from you, that means you have to work on your messaging. Your messaging is always going to be key here. If no one is buying from you, whether it's a product or a service, that means your messaging needs to be worked on. After that, if they're still not buying from you, that means your product or service comes second. So, if, again, you are sitting here with a product or service, you know it's a great product or service, no one's buying from you, you're getting hella traffic, hella leads, they're coming into the funnel, but nobody's buying, work on your messaging. Again, work on your messaging. After that, if you see that your messaging is converting, now you start to work on your product or your service. So that was I was trying to be gentle there. This one here is hilarious. How do I know if my audience is broke or just doesn't want my offer? Broke people still spend money, bro. Broke people still spend money, gal. I mean, like, I don't get why people are like, oh, I'm broke. No, you're not, because I just seen you at the store buying something. So you're not fucking broke. Broke people, homeless people still spend fucking money. So if they're not buying or they're not buying from you, it's unclear to them what it is that you're offering. Again, this goes to value. They're unclear of the value. People just don't spend their money on unclear value. Sorry, I had a notification. People aren't going to spend their money on unclear value. They're not going to do that shit whatsoever. What they're going to do is, if, for instance, they walk into a Walmart, a Target, they walk into a mall and they go to a kiosk, they see some value in that product or service at that kiosk or whatever store they just walked into, they're going to spend their money on it. If they're not spending their money on it, it's because they don't see value in it. Plain and simple. So, I think this next one is kind of a common question. When do you actually need a LLC, a EIN, or contracts? I'm going to try and answer this one in the order that it's supposed to be. EIN, contracts, LLC. I would say the only time you really need your paperwork is when the money and liability tends to show up. Because when money and liability tend to show up, that means you have the revenue coming in first and the paperwork is going to come second. So let's say, for instance, you want to start a business. Well, you need an EIN. You have money coming in, right? Well, EIN is free. You don't have to worry about buying an EIN unless you're buying a business. And even then, you're not buying the EIN. You can't buy an EIN. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the IRS website. You're going to get your EIN. You're going to put in your information. You're going to put a name for your EIN. You're going to choose whether it's a church, LLC, a S corporation, a C corporation. Are you going to be a sole proprietor? Are you going to be a 501c3? Now, once you have your EIN, now you can go out here and start putting in the work. You can start making that money. You can work under contract, uh, which would be the best thing. And even then, once you have this EIN already, now you can form it into a different entity. You can form that LLC into an S corp. You can transform that sole proprietorship into an LLC or something else of that nature. Don't believe me? Look this shit up. Now, this is a good question. What task should I never outsource? What task should I never outsource? I would say you never want to task out your messaging, the vision you have for your business, and your relationship building. Because, for instance, why would I want to send my business all the way out to someone in the Philippines who doesn't even know what the hell I stand for in my business? So they're just going to magically come up with the messaging for my business, or they're going to pretend that they see the vision when 9 times out of 10 they don't have the same vision that I do for my business or your business. Let me rephrase that. They don't have the same vision for your business, and let alone that relationship building. Why would I want to send or outsource my clients to be possibly taken by a whole nother company? That doesn't make any logical sense whatsoever. Everything else can be outsourced. Your advertising, your marketing, your design, your events, all that other stuff, that could be outsourced to different companies. Your customer service, that could be outsourced to different companies. If you need security for your business, that can be outsourced to another company. Like I said, all that right there, what I just named is negotiable. What is a non-negotiable here is your messaging, your vision, and your relationship building. So, this is a good question. What separates a real business from a side hustle mentality? This is a good question. When I was in my side hustle days, I looked at my business like it was a hobby. I didn't look at my business like I was actually running it as a CEO or a founder. I wasn't looking at my business like I was running it as a founder. I was looking at it like it was just like a hobby, pretty much. So, in other words, a side hustle is really just for comfort. You're chasing comfort if you're going to do like a side hustle. A business, if you're running an actual business and not looking at your business like a side hustle, then you're going to end up being okay to deal with the discomfort. You're going to be okay dealing with that because you know for a fact in the long run, as you scale, you're going to be gaining leverage. So stop looking at your business like it's a side hustle. If that's what you meant by that, stop looking at your business like it's a side hustle and start looking at it like it's a business. Because if you're looking at a side hustle, if you're looking at your business like a side hustle, you're only running your business like it's a hobby, and you're only going to get hobbyist results. If you look at your business like it's an actual business, you're going to end up seeing that leverage after you end up going through all that uncomfortability. Uh, Trust me, running a business is not easy. You'll end up having meetings, investor meetings, doing presentations, being pitched all the time, coffee meetings. It's a lot. It really is. Not being afraid to stay on the phone and make these phone calls. Not being afraid to actually reach out and look for those leads or follow up with your prospects, or stay on the phone for about an hour or so with clients that you already have. Things like that. Imagine staying on the phone. You have 5 clients, right? And imagine staying on the phone for an hour and a half with each of these clients, just for the simple fact that these clients need to figure out what it is from the services that you're offering. From my aspect, I would stay on the phone with my clients for at least an hour, if not two at tops, just going over their analytics, going over their messaging. If their messaging sounds a little off, going over their funnels, going over their SEO, going over pretty much getting access to the whole entire back office, and then seeing what needs to be tweaked within that back office to get that boost that they're looking for. Or if they're building from the ground up, just building from the ground up with them. Next question: how do I fire clients without burning bridges? This is a hard one. I'm not going to lie. Uh, I would still say always remain professional and always tell the truth. Remain factual and decisive too, because your reputation is on the line here. As someone who runs a business, as an independent contractor, yes, I have fired clients. It is not pretty to fire a client because you may genuinely enjoy working with that client. You may have genuinely built a good rapport, a good relationship with that client. But if you have to fire a client, be decisive and factual and do your best to remain professional at all times. Because it is never easy, especially if you like this client, if you like this contractor that you have under you. If you have to let them go, be professional, be decisive, and try to remain factual, to be truthful. Why are you letting this client go? Why are you letting this contractor go? Is it because they underperformed? Is it because they violated something, or they violated some sort of rule? They got too many complaints and HR had to deal with them, things like that. Now this is one that I deal with when I deal with my no-cost consulting. Really, my no-cost consulting really is a mindset training. For those, when I say no-cost consulting, that is literally meant for people who are unsheltered, who are homeless, who are single and make less than $15,000 a year. People who have families that make less than $26,000 a year. And it's more or less a mindset training program that I'm putting them through while still helping them build a business off of if they have leverage for their business. If not, I just continue on with the mindset part. And the one thing the question here is, how do you stay disciplined when results are slow? You lower your expectations, plain and simple. When you're not getting the results that you're actually looking for, I wasn't expecting this live to go this long. But if you're not actually getting the results that you're looking for, things are starting to slow down. You're on that roller coaster ride pretty much. Things are up and up and up and up and up and up, and now you're starting to go down, down, down. Things are starting to slow down. You lower your expectations. As soon as you start hitting that down slope and things are starting to slow down, things are starting to level off, you just lower your expectations from there. And you stop expecting people to actually show up for you. You stop expecting the applause to show up, in other words, lack of better terms. If you set your expectations too high, that's like being a 10 on the scale of happiness. You don't want to do that. You rather be like a 7 on the scale of happiness. You really would. You much rather would be on the scale of 7 as a happiness, because now you can enjoy more happiness, and you can actually enjoy life if you're at a solid 7. Same thing in business. If you're at a solid 7 or 8 in business, you'll enjoy it more, and you don't expect as much, because now you're sitting there like, all right, I know what's going to happen now. I know this is going to happen. I know that's going to happen. I'm just waiting for it to all fall into place. Next question. What do you do? I'm thinking they're asking me, but what do you do when motivation disappears? I work any fucking way. Plain and simple. I'll work any fucking way. I'll work my finger down to the fucking bone if fucking need be. And the only reason why is because motivation fades. I say this all the time. Discipline beats motivation. Let me say this again. Discipline beats motivation. I'm going to say this one more time. Discipline beats motivation. And the main reason why is because motivation will fade over time. But discipline is always there, no matter what. Because when you think of the reason why I say motivation fades over time is because it follows action. If you're constantly in action of doing something, you're staying disciplined in it, that means the motivation is automatically going to be there. This is why I say discipline beats motivation. And don't get it misconstrued. It's not the other way around. It is never the other way around. For instance, two of the greatest motivational speakers I've ever witnessed in my life. The first one was Les Brown when I went to his event in Columbus, Ohio. The second one was Eric Thomas. He was up and coming at the time. I caught him on a live stream one night, and I was just taken back. And I witnessed both of these gentlemen while I was homeless, while I was combating my homelessness. And this is before I had took. This was after. Well, I can't really say I combated homelessness. I was homeless. I took the vow of poverty. Then I broke the vow of poverty, and then I wanted to get rich or become wealthy, things like that. So from there, I listened to these motivational speakers, and I noticed it wasn't motivation that was keeping them going. It was the discipline. In other words, the love they had for what it was that they were doing that was keeping them going. It's not the other way around. It's not motivation, then discipline. It's literally discipline and motivation. Discipline keeps you. Discipline is the action that motivation follows. Next question. How do you make decisions under pressure without panicking? Oh, I throw my emotions out the window and I depend on my principles. I'm not going to sit here in front. If I have to sit here and literally get my emotions involved when under pressure, and matter of fact, this goes well for those who are in the tactical field. If you're in security or you're EPA, executive protection agent, or you're just you have some sort of security agency, right? The same principle applies here. You will default to your principles and not your emotions. Because let's say, for instance, you have a deadline you need to meet. You were supposed to get done with this project that you were supposed to do. You were supposed to get done with whatever it was that you were supposed to do by a certain date. And let me check the live real quick, actually. Sorry, I had to check the live real quick. I've been going on with the questions I already have. I didn't even check the live. So hopefully I'm already answering some of you guys' questions in the live, actually, that I'm doing right now, to be honest. But it looks like, yeah, you guys haven't even, yeah, no questions yet. But I guess I'm already answering your questions here. So neither here nor there. Again, you default to your principles. When you have that deadline you need to make. And what do? Do you sit there and like, oh, I failed. I'm just not gonna. Or do you stick to your principles and make that decision to call whoever it is you need to call and say, look, I'm not going to be able to make the deadline. I'm going to need an extension on it. I'm gonna need an extension of 3 days so I can actually get this project done for you guys and do the presentation properly for you. Okay, that will be the best option for you. How do you rebuild confidence after a failed launch? Pretty much everything all the questions that I'm answering here, they've all come from failed launches or some failed business of mine or some failed venture that I've gone through. Failed contract. Client backed out of the contract last minute. Client didn't want to sign the contract. Client didn't want to work with me. Client did work with me, but ended up going to another company. All of that, it's really just learning curves, for lack of a better term. They're all just learning curves, and not personal learning curves either. These are learning curves that are actually going to push you to teach people how you actually were able to get past that and actually get your wins. I was speaking on this on a live yesterday, I believe. Pretty much I was going over the pretty much did like a open audit on some of the nonprofits out here, specifically Promise Neighborhoods, Family Promise, and Catholic Charities. And one of the things I was speaking on was actually being transparent, having integrity, being transparent. In other words, taking what it is you have and actually putting it out there, sharing your losses, sharing your failures, and what you learned from those losses, what you learned from those failures, and how you were able to deter those losses, those failures, into successes. Next question. Now this is kind of uncomfortable. Why do so many people stay busy but broke? That's. I would say. I remember at one point when I was doing door-to-door sales, my one of my managers told me. One of my managers told me, always look busy at the door. Always look busy at the door. And I realize now what he was trying to teach me from that. When you feel as if you're being active, you feel as if you're being productive. So if you're feeling busy, you feel as if you're being productive by being busy. And that's what beats everything, productivity. But if you're in thinking mode, you're not really going to feel as safe as you would. You're gonna feel a little bit risky when you think about it. And it's crazy because, for instance, when I was doing door-to-door sales, I would literally have to see the client in front of me and figure out who they were or what it was that they stood for within the first 10 to 15 seconds of me actually speaking to them and introducing myself to them. And I would really think that if you keep yourself busy, you'll tend to be, like I was saying, you would not tend to be, but you will be more productive. I'm sorry, I had a whole brain fart there for some reason. If I've been going for what, almost an hour in, we're almost an hour into this live. If and only if you keep yourself busy, you will tend to feel more productive. If you start thinking feels risky, and you don't want to think. Yes, you should think, then do, but the whole point of that is to do, to get busy, to get productive. This is a good one. I was just talking about nonprofits too. Why do some nonprofits raise money but never solve problems? Because they like the incentives and they're not giving the outcomes. I mean, I would think that was common sense. Yeah, you know, the incentives reward optics here. You know, they don't really care about the outcome. Hey, as long as we got all this going on, we look great right now. But 9 times out of 10, what the fuck have they really produced? You know, if they're not solving problems, they're really just doing it to be like this whole shiny ball syndrome. If you know what the shiny ball syndrome is, the shiny ball syndrome is this pretty much. Do I have anything here? Okay. Let me make believe shift right here. Okay. Here I have a pair of old beat up earbuds, right? Old beat up earbuds. This is an example of the shiny ball syndrome. I have an example of old beat up earbuds here, right? Now, I have the brand new shiny pair of Beats by Dre. They both sets of headphones. I'm just using this for Using this for reference. These are the old beat up head. These are the Beats by Dre. These are the old beat up headphones. Same. They both do the same shit. They both play music. They both allow you to speak, but one just looks better. That's pretty much shiny ball syndrome in the clutch right there. So, next question: is consistency overrated if the strategy is wrong? I would say yeah. I would say absolutely when you think about it. Uh, Because you can be consistent at the wrong strategy and not get any fucking where. Like, why would you be consistent at the wrong strategy and not get any fucking where? What sense does that fucking make? Uh, in other words, figure out what it is what needs to be tweaked there. Fix your strategy, i.e., get consistent at the right strategy. Because I'm not gonna lie, not every strategy is going to work for you. Not every what's the word I'm looking for? Not every product or service is meant to be sold by you. You're not meant to sign every contract. You're not meant to work with every fucking one. Yeah, that's absolutely. So if whoever sent me that question, absolutely. So next question here. Does hustle culture help or destroy long-term thinkers? This is pretty much what I was just going over before when someone sent me the question in should I do the side hustle business? Should I treat my business? Should I treat my business like a business, or do I treat it like a side hustle? Same thing applies here. It destroys your fucking thinking, and it rewards a burnout cosplay. Because again, you're not treating your business like a fucking business. You're treating your business like it's a fucking hobby. And when you treat your business like it's a fucking hobby, you're going to get hobbyist results. I that question just pissed me off. Are you fucking serious? That question just pissed me the fuck off, yo. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. I've actually been through this. So, for those who know my story, they know I was recently released from incarceration back in 2022, November 8th, 2022 to be exact. It's the day I was released from incarceration. And the question here is, what would I focus on if I had to restart with nothing? I would say focus on what you're good at. Focus on what you're good at and monetize that skill. Monetize that knowledge that you have. And once you do that, begin to build relationships. And if you already have good relationships, I'm sure you guys heard the question. It's not who you know, but who you know. Work with that person. See if they'll work with you. Because relationship building does matter a lot. Having good rapport does matter a lot. Again, definitely skill acquisition. I would say skill acquisition is number one. The main reason why I would say skill acquisition is number one is you can always capitalize what you know. You can always double down on what you know. If you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you have the know-how, double down on that. Monetize that. Monetize that one problem and become the solution, pretty much. Uh, Next question here. What metrics actually matter early on? Conversations. The relationships we build, the same thing I was just saying with the last question. Conversations, off rip. Conversions, obviously, that's going to come with it. Uh, Everything else, to be honest with you, that's just ego. Oh, and cash flow too. Cash flow too. What's the biggest lie sold in online business right now? What's the biggest lie sold in online business right now? I would say there's two of them. Um, that freedom comes before discipline, which is bullshit. And I say this because how did you get the freedom? There's no possible way that you were able to get freedom while not having any discipline behind it. That's probably the number one biggest lie in online business or even offline business, to be honest with you. The second biggest one would probably be that you still have time. I think, and this is, I hear Gary Vaynerchuk say this all the time. He's the owner of VaynerX Media. I actually was turned. I got actually not introduced, but I found out about Gary V when he was doing. He had just, I believe, he had just started getting online and things like that, and he was talking about, you guys still having time. Or this is, I'm sorry, I messed that whole thing up. He was talking in an interview that people still having time. He was doing this in reels and in everything, but I believe that is one of the biggest lies in business, period, is that you still have time. And the reason I say this is because time waits for no man. Um, if you're going to sit there and waste your prospects' time, your clients' time, it's just going to become a problem. Uh, so, last question. When should someone quit a business that isn't working? I would say when the data pivots, but the ego is sitting there telling you to stay in business. That's when you should leave business and go into something different. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be the end of this live. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate the questions sent in to me. If you guys do have any questions, send your questions in. I'll message you back with an answer. Uh, Deuces, y'all. This your man Shelby. I'm out, and y'all be easy. I think there's somebody at the door here.